All right, good morning, everybody. I know you kind of sat in silence there for just a little bit, regrouping, getting a handle on some of the technology behind the scenes here. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for a good chunk of Scott County, and we're talking about a big old hailstorm. This one's dropped some large hailstones. In fact, right now it's potentially producing hail up to about 1.5 inches in diameter. That's about the size of ping pong balls, and that hail is moving into Waldron right now. I anticipate a new severe thunderstorm warning to be issued at any moment. That would potentially include more of Waldron. In fact, Joshua, if you would go back over to the Little Rock chat room there, I want to be able to watch that. This is the purple and the pink and these colors right here. This is where that hail is likely to be. It's right on 71 right now in Waldron. This guy is lifting towards the north, so I would suspect that hail has started more than likely right now in Waldron. Let's do this. Trevor up in the booth, our director, I would like you to go ahead and take us on to Channel 5.
And there's the new downstream warning.
Okay, excellent. If we could, let's get on Channel 5 real quick. And the reason I want to do this, folks that are watching the stream, we typically reserve going on air for tornado warnings, but the size of this hail is large enough that I feel that it's important to do it. So that's what we're going to do this morning. Current time's 2 o'clock on the dot. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for this severe thunderstorm capable of producing large hail in winds up to about 60 miles per hour. We're going to be transitioning over to the television here in just a couple seconds. You may see get a little finicky there, a little funky. That's all it's going to be. But this is the storm we're tracking. It's the only severe storm currently in the 5 News viewing area. All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Scott Cover working alongside Joshua Weisel here early this morning. We are tracking a severe thunderstorm capable of producing some very large hail. I know you're thinking, Scott, you're breaking into television programming. Why are you doing that? There's no current tornado threat, but there is large enough hailstones that I wanted to make sure the folks in Waldron had adequate heads up. And not just Waldron, but this storm is going to extend a little bit further towards the north. If we could, let's do this. Let's first take me in really tight into the Waldron community. I want to get some local streets to pop up. So, of course, this is going to be the Pines right here of the 71 running through Featherston Street. That's really where we find that hail, right there along 80 and 71. That interchange right there in the middle part of town. We very well probably have some large hailstones falling right now. This all lifting towards the north. So now, Joshua, what I'd like to do is zoom us out and let's see who else is in the path of this dangerous storm. We're talking 1.5 inch hail. That's ping pong size hail. It's larger than what we typically get around here. And we do know that this storm is likely producing that. While it is radar indicated, we did see numerous reports coming out of the MENA community as this storm lifted off towards the north. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little further. Let's get the entire warning polygon included in that. So this is going to be tracking towards the north, yet again toward the Booneville community. Paris also included in this severe thunderstorm warning, which is set to run for the next 43 minutes. It'll expire at 2:45 this morning. Let's put a path on it. This storm was moving, I'm not sure at how fast. You just had that pulled up there. You got it?
Right around 50 miles an hour.
Okay, moving north at about 50 miles per hour. Not only do you have a lot of hail with this, winds could be exceeding 60 miles per hour right now. So a path on that, it's going to look like this. How about Tate at is that the same there? That'll work. Lone School at about 207, Tate at 214, Ione at 217, Earl Prairie District School number 66 at 220. That's awfully specific. Booneville 224, Cawthorn at 228, Chisholmville at 230, Charleston there at about 236. New severe thunderstorm warning is going to be in effect for Sebastian and Franklin counties. If you want to go ahead and take that blue box off there, I got it. If you just Control Z will help you out there. The new warning, a sliver of Sebastian and then a portion of Franklin County. I'm having a deja vu moment. Am I dreaming? We've had a very similar storm a few hours ago with a very similar warning polygon. This is a new one. This one has a little bit larger hailstones with it, and that's the concern. Booneville, Magazine, Paris, Waldron, Charleston, Chisholmville, Tate, included in the path of the storm. Right now there is no tornado potential, and I don't expect a tornado potential. This one is specific to the risk of some pretty large hail. We're talking ping pong size hail. Let's go straight back to our hail tracker. Let's get an idea of what that hail path has been like as it's been moving out of Polk County. These are some brighter colors. Earlier this evening, we were looking at some of these grays, but when we start to see colors like this, that's Doppler radar indicating we've got some large hail. We're kind of in the middle of the scale right there, right? Yeah, so this is 1.5 inches. Doppler radar estimating exactly what we know it's going to be capable of. Now, keep in mind, as I show you this hail detector, it's looking in the rears, right? It's not current. It's 4 to 5 minutes looking back. It's doing some post-analysis on the radar data. As we put that into motion, we saw that hail core move up just to the east of Blancett there, coming up 71 between Blancett and Parks. Parks may have had a little bit of small hail, but the real hail core here moving directly into the community of Waldron. It's passing towards the north, and that's going to take it into northern Scott County, back into Logan County as well. Let's do this. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Actually, if you don't mind, look at the path of that. I mean, my goodness, some really large hail right out of Mena coming directly into Waldron. Booneville's next, well, Tate's next in line. Booneville's right after that. If you're in Booneville, you know someone, maybe they parked outside. Goodness gracious, they're about to get woken up. I'm afraid it's going to be quite loud when those hailstones start to move into the area. What I'm going to do is we're going to analyze this kind of in a quasi 3D way. What I'm going to do is basically take a knife to this storm. I'm going to chop it up, and it's going to allow us to see how tall it is. And the height of this storm is really important to us because that tells us how high our hail parameter might actually be looking like. So we take a closer look into this, and you're going to notice, well, I zoomed in way too far. If you want to back us out, perfect, just a little bit. So this line right here, that's good, about 30,000 feet, and it does look like our storm tops in parts of the storm right above Waldron right now sitting at about 30,000 feet. Here's the hail core. It's suspended. Wow, that's a really impressive hail core. Here's going to be where that hail is suspended above Waldron. You're getting closer and closer to that county line, coming closer into the Logan County community. This one's going to do some damage. This is some hail that's going to do some damage, and this is my concern for you. Folks in Scott County, Logan County next in line, as well as parts of Franklin, and there is a very small sliver of southeastern Sebastian County included in this warning as well. When you look at a cross-section of this cell like this, and you see all of that purple, this is all hailstones. And this brighter spots here, that's probably where we have our larger hailstones, 1.5 inches in diameter. That could very well be ping pong size. Joshua, getting out of this mode is a little bit tricky. If you want to watch me do it, I'll help you out here. First things first, we're going to go back to this. We come over to properties. We're going to change our tilt, and we're going to start to look for this storm directly from up in space. That's how you get out of it. You can still see, I mean, goodness gracious, this is a concerning cell. This is one that I'm afraid is going to cause some roof damage out there. If any of this is actually making it to the ground, and I think it is, we've got some concerns. I need some folks to help me out this morning. 479-785-5000. If you live in Waldron, can you please text me? Can you let me know what's happening? I do have my cell phone right here next to me. Those text messages come straight to me. I'm very, very curious as to the size of the hail that you're getting woken up too early this morning. Our number at the station here, 479-785-5000. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Scott County, Franklin County, portions of Sebastian, and a good chunk of Logan County as well. The potential for large hail as well as some very gusty winds increasing with this specific cell as it continues to push off towards the north. I'll say this, based off of its current track, I'm not sure Sebastian County is going to be impacted too greatly based off of currently what we're seeing. If I put a loop on this over the last 30 minutes or so, what you find is there's a bit more of an east-northeasterly track. I do think Booneville is definitely going to be impacted by this hailstorm. Some of that may try to track into Franklin, maybe even parts of Franklin County, even parts of Paris. We'll have to see how much of an east-northeasterly track this goes. I think generally speaking, Booneville, though, is next in line. Tate right now, Booneville next. That's the concern as this hailstorm continues to move through. I've not seen quite a lot of weakening with this cell. You're looking at the track itself. I'm getting text messages from Booneville, from Waldron. Phone's blowing up here. This is good. Golf ball size. I'm getting golf ball. The Heldon Waldron golf ball. Waldron. Okay, I'm pulling this up. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm pulling these up in real time. I know this looks wonky, but just the way it is. Okay, yep, that's definitely golf ball size. That's going to do some damage. Goodness. Helen Waldron, let's see, golf and quarter.
Yeah, and not to overhype this, but this is probably one of the this is probably one of the most impressive cells that we've seen so far with the coverage that we've been doing tonight, just because this is the largest hail core that we've had. It's also the most substantial, long-lived hail core that we've had. We had one storm that was making its way from southeast Oklahoma into a very similar area earlier that produced 2-inch hail. It wouldn't surprise me, based off of radar indications, if maybe we see maybe closer to hen egg sized hail here shortly.
Got a report of that out of Mena as this cell moved into southern Scott County, so I agree with you.
Yeah, and so Booneville, if you've been watching us on 5+, we have mentioned you several times tonight with this. This is going to be the most real and most impactful risks that we've seen so far tonight for your area. We're looking at some products behind the scenes here, and this is a concerning storm. It's not on a weakening trend. In fact, over the last several scans, we've seen nothing but strengthening with it. And this has had a history of producing golf ball sized hail. So I encourage you, Booneville, over the last little bit, we've had hailstorms in these areas. You may have, thought maybe I don't need to pull that car in to the garage just because, you've heard quarter, you've heard $50. We're talking golf ball. We're talking hen egg now. That's going to cause some substantial damage to your vehicle. It can damage trees. It can damage your home roof or your windows. So now is the time in Booneville to get your car into the garage right now while you still have some time. Get that car in, just because this is going to cause some damage, and the radar's indicating behind the scenes. Radar's indicating about 2 inches right now. Yeah,
and I think we're right on top of Tate. I got a lot of messages out of Waldron, folks in Waldron. I'm here for you. I think this threat's passing you. I'm afraid, based off what you're telling me, you're probably going to have a little bit of damage out there. Lots of golf ball size reports. Saw a couple of ping pongs. Saw some lower end reports there as well. It probably wasn't a uniform size all throughout, but a lot of large hail. It's on top of Tate right now, and it's headed towards Booneville. If you know someone in Booneville that maybe they didn't park in the garage and they can, or a carport, it may not hurt to call and wake him up and say, hey, dude, go get the car covered up real quick. This hailstorm's not weakening. It's pulsing up, if anything at all. I'm afraid we're probably going to be looking at that hail potential increasing for a good majority of Logan County over the next several minutes. Your warning runs through 2:45. Booneville, Magazine, Paris included in this warning. Waldron, you technically are obviously the threats to your north at this point. Let's take a closer look at our hail tracker. I'm curious what we're seeing here. Based off of current returns, look at, goodness gracious, you look at those darker blues and those purples, that tells us we've got some strong hail, and it's not pulsing up and pulsing down like it often does. This is some in the rears data. It's a little bit behind, but it shows exactly what just went through Waldron. Let me do this. Folks in Tate, folks in Booneville, I'm going to put a track on this in just a second, but first what I want to do is I want to take a really tight look Okay, there's some new data that just came in. It's catching up. I want to look exactly where this moved through. One of the text messages I saw just real briefly there was a report near the high school there in Waldron. Looks like probably the heaviest or the largest hailstones probably just moved through Park Avenue. Here's Washington Street. Here's Featherston Street. Of course, it definitely crossed 71 there. No question about that. Lifting off towards the east-northeast. Looks like a large chunk of Waldron more than likely saw those larger hailstones. Perhaps on the west side of town, maybe it wasn't as big. Perhaps that's where some of those slower end reports were coming from. But goodness gracious, a large chunk of town. Next, who's in line? It's Logan County. That's the folks that really need to be on guard right now. I know a lot of folks are probably asleep out there this evening, and I totally get that. This is not going to produce a tornado. There is no tornado potential at this point. I know we talked about that earlier this evening in Scott, Johnson, and Logan. That's not the case. This is an elevated thunderstorm, which means it's not going to be surface-based. It can't really produce a tornado. It can dump a lot of hail, and unfortunately, that certainly seems to be the case for us this evening. Before I put a track on that, most important thing I need to do is make sure it's still moving at the same speed. We're looking at northeast speeds up to about 50 miles per hour. There's where the hail is right now. We track that towards the north. This is going to put that at Booneville at 2:23 this morning. Current time is 2:14, so that's going to put that at Booneville at 2:23, Chisholmville 2:28, Branch at 2:35, County Line 2:36. Peter Pender, who just got hit hard with half-dollar size hail about an hour or so ago, and going to probably see another hailstorm move through unless this thing doesn't push off towards the east. Could come close to Etna about 2:42. Roseville, they're at 2:45 before it crosses the Arkansas River back into Franklin County on the other side. Here's the concern. It's pretty easy to pick it out. It's that purple zone right there. That's where the updraft is the strongest. That's where those raindrops are getting pushed up, up, up. Those raindrops freeze once they get to that 30, 40,000 foot level, and then they start to develop ice. They'll start to drop as they get heavy, and that updraft, being as strong as it is, pushes those hailstones right back up. The cycle repeats until the hailstones are so large that inevitably they fall to the ground. And what looks to be the case this morning is about 1.5 inch size hailstones, ping pong size for many of us, golf ball size for others, quarters mixing in there as well. Let's do this. Let's loop this. Let's get an idea. You can still see our track is not changing much at all. Storm's not necessarily weakening. The structure overall is changing a little bit as we get closer into the Booneville community, but the actual storm itself still maintaining a notable strength, and that's going to be a concern for us. Booneville, you got just a couple more minutes before we start to see this storm likely move on top of you. It's going to be tough to avoid this one in Paris, I'm afraid, based off of that general trajectory right now. So if you got any friends, any family members in Paris that might have also parked that car outside, maybe you got a pet that stays outside, you might want to make some phone calls if you wouldn't mind helping those folks out, your friends, your family. Let's do this. Let's go back to the hill now. Again, this isn't necessarily current. This is a few minutes ago, but it showed we saw some significant hail there in Tate as well. So that's probably going to be in Booneville over just the next couple of minutes. Checking the weather service, making sure they're not saying anything that we don't need to know about.
And this is quite the impressive little supercell. You can almost see it looks like it's trying to form kind of a V notch with it, indicating just a rather significant updraft to it. It's kind of a sloppy one right now, but this one doesn't look like it's really going to be weakening anytime soon compared to what we've seen since about 10:30 this evening when we were looking at several of these storms. They'd fire up and they'd reach strong to severe limits. They'd last maybe a couple minutes at most, and then they'd start to weaken. This one has had a rather significant history of producing this large damaging hail, and it wouldn't surprise me, again, if we're reaching that 2-inch category, which is right around hen egg sized hail there. So again, the radar is indicating that there is a rather significant updraft supportive for that large damaging hail. And I don't know about you, but this is just structurally on radar, this is looking more and more impressive every scan that we're getting the last 3 or 4 scans here.
Certainly a very healthy cell. Your text messages, I continue to get them. Thank you so much. I'm reading all of them and a lot of reports of hail coming out of the Waldron community. Now, though, it's Booneville. Booneville is the one under the gun. This is State Highway 23 right here. That's where we have some very large hail falling right now. Knowing that radar's probably a second or two behind, Booneville probably has a lot of hail. If you're just now joining us in Booneville, I'm afraid you got a good old hailstorm moving through, and you're probably going to have minimally quarter-size hail, perhaps ping-pong-size hail. I did just see a report of a little more than 2-inch size out of Y City. So this storm is certainly going to be capable of some additional large hailstones, likely moving through the Cawthron area as well. Magazine's going to get close. Let's be on guard if we're in Magazine as well. I do suspect that at least some degree of hail may be moving through the Magazine community, likely crossing pretty much right on top of 217 and Highway 10. That interchange right there with 23, 217, and 10 right there in downtown Booneville. You see these pinks and these purples. This is where we've got issues right here, Golden City Road. So we're on the south side of town in Booneville. That's where this hail is likely moving through the area right now. We're talking some large hail. And we're talking enough that your roofs are going to have some damage, I'm afraid. I know you hate to hear it. I hate to tell you. Cars probably going to get dinged up out there as well. This is some larger hail than what we typically see, larger than what we've seen over the last few days as well. Your warning runs through 245. There will probably be additional warnings. It does extend further into Franklin County. We'll back this out. The orange box there is the warning itself. It does include Charleston. It does include Calksville and Ratcliffe and Branch, Chisholmville, Driggs, Paris, Roseville, Peter Pender, Etna, Meg. I really think it's Booneville right now that we're going to want to be really concerned with. Paris, I'm afraid, may be downstream as well. Getting a lot of your text messages still. Let me put my number up one more time. If you're just now kind of taking account of what just happened, you're probably fast asleep, and then you got woken up by some large hail hitting the windows, hitting the roof. 479-785-5000. That's coming straight to us here. Got a new update on that warning. Let's see what it is. I bet they increased the hail size. Yep, 2 inches in hail in diameter is the concern at this point. It very well looks like we very well could have 2-inch size hail with this storm. It doesn't seem to be decreasing in coverage. We probably have those 2-inch hailstones right now in Booneville. Hate to tell you, folks, there's no tornado potential. I do love to tell you that. I hate to tell you that it's going to be one of those kind of storms that we're going to be filing some insurance claims. Probably going to have some monetary damage with this one single cell in of itself. Look at all that purple right there. That's some really heavy precipitation. That is the concern. That is the area where these cellstones are falling, and I don't see really any signs of weakening. That's the concern that we have with this specific cell as it continues to trek further and further north. Here's State Highway 22 between Calksville, and I won't even go as far as probably Scranton. Let's keep it with the warning. Calksville to Paris. If you live between Calksville and Paris on 22, or between Paris and let's say Blue Mountain, that's going to be where we start to see those hailstones continue tracking towards the north. It's likely not going to weaken, I'm afraid. I don't see necessarily any signs that it's going to. The cells that we've been tracking the last, well, this stream started with Joshua at about 10:30 with a cell moving through a similar area. None of these have really weakened until they get well into North Arkansas. So I'm afraid that could be a trajectory that we're looking at. I hope I'm wrong. It's possible. I mean, the atmosphere at the surface is pretty stable, but the question becomes, what about the upper levels of the atmosphere? And I think that's unfortunately where we start to have some issues.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because these are running through areas that have already been hit probably 2 or 3 times tonight, not necessarily by significant hail, but as you mentioned earlier, Booneville and some areas near them, they saw half-dollar-sized hail just a little bit ago. So these areas have already seen hail. Viewers in these areas are probably feeling a little bit of whiplash. They went to bed. They probably were awakened by an alert earlier this evening and then went to bed again thinking it was all clear. Now your phones are going off once again. So there's a little bit of weather whiplash going on down there where these areas have been hit in some spots 2 or 3 times already tonight by marginally severe hail to just a little bit under this size already.
I'm getting a picture here of a busted windshield in Waldron. That does not surprise me one bit. Said it was really loud, and gosh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Hail in the Ione community, almost covering the ground. It almost looks like snow in parts of the area. There's just so much of it. Hailing big, golf ball size in Booneville. Yeah, no question about it. Golf ball size hail is not only going to be continuing in Booneville, that continues upstream as well. Good chunk of Logan County under that warning. Got about 50 text messages that I've not gotten through just yet, but thank you so much for sending these photos in. I know it's 2 in the morning. You are hopefully peacefully sleeping. Here's some quarters. That could be larger than quarters. Quarters is probably the floor of where we're at. The ceiling, I think, is going to be a little bit higher. I think we've definitely seen some ping pong and golf balls out there as well. Josh was putting us a track on this. Puts this at Chisholmville at 230, County Line 238, Clarksville 239, Little Flock Church there 240, Etna and Meg right around 245, Roseville about 247. Joshua, that doesn't include Paris. If you could, try to draw me one with Paris in there just to make sure we can give those folks there a good heads up.
We'll do here, let me shift that over. There's a new update that just came in there too for that hail core, and it looks like it's still rather up there.
It's going to be for that other storm. Okay, yep.
And I'll go ahead and extend this.
May have to start a new one.
I will go ahead and do that. They're updating the Little Rock portion of the warning there too.
Okay.
It looks like that portion doing about between $50 and ping pong ball.
I'm going to run this for you real quick.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Let's see. Yeah, goodness gracious, that hail just keeps coming up in Booneville. So Paris is still included in the warning. This is at 45 miles an hour or 50?
50.
50, okay. Well, at least it's moving somewhat quickly. If it were to move towards Paris, and I think it may miss you just off towards the west, that puts you there around 243. Maybe it just misses you just off towards the west for the folks in Paris. Unfortunately, Booneville just took a direct hit with some large hail. Looks like some of that's getting ready to move into southern Franklin County there near Chisholmville. Clarksville, it's actually on top of Chisholmville right now. Clarksville is going to be next there. Getting some more pictures out of Booneville. This is from Isaiah. It looks like it's covering the ground. Isaiah, if you're watching the stream, could you give me an estimate about how big that was? I'll see that response coming up here in just a couple minutes. Gray Rock is definitely going to be next in line for this. Let me do this. I want to back this up just a bit. And let's see, is the track still towards the east-northeast, or is it trying to fan out just a little bit? I don't think so. I think we're definitely going to still stay within that general warning polygon there. Charleston, you're going to avoid this. That's the good news. It's going to be just off to your east. Chisholmville right now, you're getting what Booneville just got. Booneville, I know you might still have a little bit of heavy rain, but the worst is over with you there. This storm, though, continues passing off towards the east-northeast. So our Ratcliffe and Clarksville areas are next. You probably have 5-ish more minutes to go before that becomes a big concern for you. What I want to go back to do again is I want to slice this thing up. We're going to take a knife through it and get an idea of how tall this storm is. And right now, it's continuing to have storm tops at about 30,000 feet. And when you take a closer look at what just came through Booneville, so right here's Booneville, here's Charleston for context, which is probably going to be okay with this specific cell. 30,000 feet, that's where those cloud tops are. That's where commercial airliners fly. And this is the pockets of hail embedded within this cell. The updraft's strong enough that it's pushing those raindrops up to 30,000 feet. They start to freeze, and that process continues over and over and over and over again until the hail eventually becomes larger than the updraft can support, and that's when it starts to fall to the ground. This continues pushing up towards the northeast. We've seen, we got close to 35, 40,000 feet earlier. This, though, certainly going to be the more impressive, unfortunately, and I hate to even use the word impressive, the largest hailstones that we've actually seen. With this specific cell, getting ready to move to Clarksville, as you can see there. Ratcliffe next in line. If you're in Chisholmville, I know it's loud right now. I know it's a little scary probably. You were sleeping peacefully. Driggs also going to be impacted by at least some heavy rain. I suspect there may be some hail mixing in here, but it's going to be this zone right here. It's really easy to pinpoint exactly where that is. Just to the northwest of Magazine, we're now north of Booneville. This tracking towards the east-northeast. That's going to be crossing 22 here real quick. Going into Clarksville there, over towards Paris. And that's going to inevitably be tracking into portions of southern Franklin, maybe even southwestern Johnson County. I'm afraid this one may not necessarily weaken. I've not seen any signs of weakening since this dude got fired up. Let's put this on a little bit of a loop here. That's going to be for 1 hour. You can see it is moving somewhat quickly, so I'm grasping at straws to provide some good news. If there is any at all, it would be that you got some big hail coming, but it doesn't last too long. I think it's going to last long enough to do some damage. Saw that busted windshield. We're going to have some roof damage out there, I'm afraid. Crop damage, if we've got any plants out in the ground, probably not that have come up to the extent that we'd have too much damage. But nonetheless, it's going to be an expensive storm, I'm afraid, just kind of shaping up to be one of those.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, just looking kind of behind the scenes here with our off-broadcast radar source, this really doesn't look like it's weakening at all. It's taking on more supercell characteristics. And for you at home that may be wondering, supercells don't always mean tornadoes. Supercells are just these little discrete, strong to severe storms that are able to produce these updrafts that are capable of large damaging hail. And just visually over the last little bit, this one continues to look rather impressive, where we're going to be dealing with that large damaging hail risk. And really, it doesn't look like that hail core has come down any. No. Actually, over the last couple scans, it looks like it's continuing to strengthen little by little, not leaps and bounds, but radar is starting to indicate maybe closer to tennis ball. That may not be translating to the ground at that height or at that size, but keep in mind, we have had hen egg sized hail. If this is continuing to increase, it may not be out of the question that there could be a couple of mixed in hailstones even larger here and there.
Here's a text message out of Waldron. It sounded like a bomb had gone off at our house, and it just kept going. I'm still shaking, I have no doubt. Booneville probably just now still getting out of the thick of that. We live outside of Booneville going towards Ione. This happened at 214 golf ball size hail. Yeah, I definitely see that. Erica from Booneville sending in some photos. I wish I could share these in real time. I just can't do it on our own. Acre in there about 140, some large hailstones. These are large. These are some big hailstones. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. Unfortunately, Clarksville, it's moving into your neck of the woods here in the next couple of seconds. If not, maybe you got a minute or so. Here's State Highway 22 between Charleston and Clarksville. It's going to be traveling up 23 as well. Eventually, portions of this is going to move into Johnson County, it looks like, over the next few minutes. Let's zoom out just a little bit so we can get a better perspective of who's next. Coal Hill, you're not under a warning. Altus, not under a warning. Ozark, not under a warning. I suspect, just given the propensity of this thing to continue to produce hail, we probably are going to be looking at least some level of a downstream warning. They may give it a few more minutes. This one's set to expire at 2:45, so we've got a little bit to go before they have to issue that next one. But I'll tell you, just given radar appearance, the ground truth reports that you folks at home are sending in will probably have additional warnings. I suspect a lot of folks are asleep, and many are going to be woken up just like you are here this morning. with the bomb-like sounds coming through the area. We're talking some incredibly intense hail with this system. I don't think it hits Clarksville, but I do think we do have portions of Johnson County that are more than likely going to be impacted by this. Cedar Grove Church 233, Clarksville at 236. Here it's a couple of minutes. Etna 242, Roseville 245, Denning and Altus there 249, Ozark at 251. Watalula and Barnes, who just got through a large hailstorm a couple of minutes ago, well, about an hour or so ago. Another one there right around 3 o'clock this morning. Batson in Johnson County at 3:06. Would be some estimated times of arrival for that. Let's do this. Let's put a hail track back on it. Let's go to the track. Let's get an idea of what's exactly taken place. This is, generally speaking, it's going to tell us what just happened. It's not going to tell us what's happening now. This is a little bit of a post product that the radar has to do some analysis, takes it a couple minutes, and it spits out the data. So this isn't necessarily current, but it's not too far in the past. Look at that hail core, that streak right there from Mena straight up through Waldron, straight to Booneville. You keep just extending that out, and what you notice is you don't really see much weakening. It looks like you had a strong hailstorm in Mena. It really intensified right on top of Waldron. Booneville, I wouldn't say it necessarily weakened, but it certainly wasn't as strong as perhaps it was at moments. Definitely not to say you didn't just have a bad hailstorm. You did. I'm not going to discount that for 1 second. This may track just to the west of Paris, although you're technically still in the severe thunderstorm warning. You're going to have some gusty winds. You're maybe having a little bit of hail. Right now, our track on this keeps the largest hailstones just off to your west. Let's go back in closer. In fact, I'd like to see Clarksville pop up. Perfect. If we can go in 1 or 2 clicks more closer, that's going to be perfect. Peter Pender, we just had big reports out of Peter Pender with that last hailstorm a couple of hours ago. This takes it right up 23 into Etna. That's going to continue pushing towards the north. At this point, it's almost tracking due north, and so that's going to potentially take it back into portions of Ozark, unless it can veer off towards the east. It may be the east side of Ozark, maybe a little bit closer to the Altus area. I see my phone lighting up. It's your text messages at home. It's some Facebook messages out there, so I'm checking to see what additional information may be useful to pass along to the folks downstream from this. But we're looking at a large hail storm, and it right now not showing much signs of weakening. It's going to be right on top of Clarksville now. Peter Pender at Etna, or if you live anywhere along 41 through, let's say, that corridor, you're probably going to be looking at hail in the next 2 to 3 minutes, 5 at the most. Let's do this. Let's go back to rain mode. Perfect. Hoo-wee. Just kind of a gnarly storm. Just really no other way to say it. It's got this axis of hail that's now right there at 22, kind of veers back over towards 23, north of Clarksville, wraps around to the east side of Branch, and then south of 41. It's not very circular like you would maybe expect. It's kind of this weird semicircle shape, but that's where the largest hailstones are probably going to be. Clarksville, it's heavy rain right now, and you probably got a little bit of winds, but the hail should be starting to come down. The worst of the hail now north of Clarksville, getting close to the Etna community. Heads up, folks in Roseville, if you lived anywhere there along 309, going between Ozark and, let's say, Paris, you might want to be mindful of this cell as well. It's going to be coming pretty close to you. So the Hillard family, I'm afraid this comes close to you. King family, you're probably going to see some hail out of this one as well. So let's be really careful there. I know it's the middle of the night. Folks probably are asleep and not even watching at all. And so that's a challenge for me. Makes me feel a little bit helpless at this moment. And so we're just going to do the best we can. We're going to be here tracking this one until it weakens or fizzles out, which unfortunately it's not shown any signs of doing either of those things. So I'm afraid we very well could be extending that hail a little bit further into the Ozark community. We are approaching the end of this warning, which was set to expire at 2:45. Here's the edge of the warning polygon, but I can guarantee you a weather service out of Tulsa and probably out of Little Rock are going to extend that warning further towards the north with a new polygon that will take it into portions of northern Franklin and northwestern Johnson County. Coal Hill may be included in this new warning that's probably yet to come, although I'll tell you right now, The worst looks to be maybe just off to your west in Coal Hill, maybe a little too close for comfort. I shouldn't put my foot in my mouth. It's going to come close. There's no question about that.
We may ought to look whenever this gets a little bit closer. That Ozark cam may get a pretty good view of this as it comes in.
It probably will. It's lighting up, a lot of lightning. You're not going to be able to see any of the hail there necessarily, but certainly lightening up. I can see it offhand. I'm looking at the Ozark camera off air over here. Worst of the hail core now in Franklin County. Not to say there's not a little bit of hail remaining in Logan County, west of Paris. I think there probably is, but this is where we have the heaviest of the hail core. If there's anything that's positive out of that last update, that broad area of purple, which is where the hail is maybe shrinking up just a little bit. That could present some good news for us. I don't know if it's much, but the hail core right now, largely in Etna, right there along 288, lifting off towards the north. Let's see, what else do we got? Hail the size of golf balls in Booneville. Yeah, that's been pretty common from pretty much Waldron up through Booneville. Looks like the ground's covered in Booneville. I wish I could show you guys this. It's just on your text messages on my phone here. Can't see much out of that picture. Getting a whole lot of these text messages. Yeah, it's just covered. Ground's just covered in golf ball size hail. It's truly ridiculous. This is a video. I've not watched it. This is kind of dangerous. I bet it's loud. Whew. Okay, so we've upgraded the potential of damage. We do have a new warning, and this is going to be a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for northern Franklin County. This is going to extend further from where it's at. It's going to be pushing up towards the north as well. Let's see here. Let me back up. New warning there. Does include Ozark, Waterloo, Barnes. Probably includes Cass, and that's going to actually extend well into Madison County as well. So what the Weather Service is thinking with this one as well, much like what Joshua and I are thinking, is it's probably not going to weaken, and that's the concern for us. And that's why they've had enough confidence to go ahead and draw that warning straight up into Madison County. So it's a pretty large warning. Weather Service out of Johnson, Little Rock is responsible for Johnson and Logan counties. So what you're soon probably going to see from that office is this warning, this orange polygon. It's going to also start to look pretty similar over here. They're going to complement the eastern side of it. Their district just falls right there on the county line. This is the concern right here. It's in Etna. We've got large hail probably happening right now in Etna, and that's going to be moving into the Webb City area right after that. Roseville getting pretty close there before eventually making it back into Ozark. I can see the constant lightning strikes there with the Ozark camera. In fact, I'll just pull it up real quick. Let me go back to radar first, and then I'll pull it up. Some of that large hail may come close to Altus as well. Here's 23, so worst of the hail probably now north of Etna just a little bit. This storm's moving pretty quick. Here's Meg. You may get in on a little bit of this action, I'm afraid. Weather Service did just drop us down to 1.75, so 1.75 inches as opposed to 2 inches. It's progress. It's not much, but we'll take it. Let's see, that's an interesting new scan. That is a very interesting new scan. I wonder what happened there. Joshua?
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure. I wonder if that's just a weird scan over there. Behind the scenes with this other product, not really looking like that. So maybe it's just that. I do think that while there is a little bit of a weakening trend, I hesitate to get too excited for that. Just because these little rogue storms that they'll have their own environment, or these little discrete supercells, we've seen this a couple of times tonight, not to this extent. This is probably the most impressive storm that we've seen so far tonight, but I'm waiting to see if this is beginning to recycle, meaning that it's going to try and get its act together and do it one more time. I can't say for certain if it's going to do that. Hopefully we continue a weakening trend, but one thing that we need to monitor is Is it going to come back and recycle, or is this going to be a much welcome trend down that we could hopefully look forward to? Something else to note too, some of the velocity is picking up, not necessarily in the 60-mile-per-hour range, but between Ozark and Coal Hill, there may be some gusty winds of 45 to 55 miles an hour with this, just based off of radar in that area. So gusty winds, of course, that hail risk. I hesitate to say that it's fully decreasing. So we're going to need to watch this. It may be recycling, and we're going to probably have to watch for that here in the next little bit.
Yeah, certainly can expect that to be the case. I'm hopeful not, though. Okay, so that was bad data that came in. Newest data, this does look accurate. You're not noticing as much of that purple there. That purple is where that hail core is. That's going to be the biggest concern for us. It's not as pronounced as it once was, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's not still large hail falling. I think there probably is. Maybe we're not at that 2-inch in diameter mark that we were, but we're still looking at least quarter-size hail. In fact, even then, that scan, it may have just came back up exactly like Joshua predicted that it might. Looks like it's crossed the Arkansas River. The hail core has right there. It's now squarely back into portions of Franklin County. This is going to be lifting into the Altus community, likely Ozark, likely Denning, Greenwood community here as well. Very large hail probably moving into that area soon. It's going to cross Interstate 40 and Highway 64 as this passes off towards the north. We're going to want to be mindful Waterloo, Barnes, perhaps even Cass as well. I keep waiting on the Weather Service out of Little Rock to issue a warning here for the Johnson County side. Right now, it looks like they're holding off because the bulk of that activity right now is in Tulsa's coverage area, which includes Franklin County. If this thing continues to track off towards the east-northeast, they're probably going to have to issue something for Johnson County. Looks like Coal Hill. Boy, that's really close for comfort. I just don't know. I think there may be a little bit of hail there approaching the Coal Hill area, Hartman as well. Getting a lot of messages, and I can't respond to, well, almost any of them at this point. But I want you to know I'm seeing them all. Robert, I see that. Abby, I see it. Kyle, I see it. Buddy, thank you so much. Jessica, I see all your messages. Booneville, Waldron, Mina. Clarksville, seeing some messages out of there as well. It seems like once that storm passes through, about 3 to 4 minutes later, people are rubbing the sleepy out of their eyes or going outside and thinking, what in the world just happened? And they send a picture back to us. And so those reports are coming in a little bit delayed. Looks like that's a little bit stronger here on the east side of Franklin County. So now we're getting towards Altus, probably a large hailstorm in Altus right now. That's going to continue pushing towards the east-northeast. Here's Altus. That's where the heavy, large hail is. Whitaker Village right here, right up 186. All the vineyards are going to be right here. Those large hailstones probably going to cause some issues for us. Here's going to be the Greenwood community down here in the river bottoms. We got some really large hail probably right through there right now as well. We get over here towards Coal Hill, and generally speaking, the Coal Hill and the Hartman area. I think we're probably going to have hail here as well. What I want to do is this. I want to back this up just a little bit, and I'm going to do a track that's based simply off of the actual hail core itself. And I typically only use this tool to track squall lines, but this seems like an appropriate use for it this evening. This is going to be some estimated times of arrival. Alex at now. Let's see, Gar Creek Church, 249, Low Gap Church, 253, Mountaintop Church, 254, Mountaintop itself, which had another hailstorm earlier this morning, 258, Pistons Junction at 3 a.m. this morning. Looks like we have dropped Logan County out of the severe thunderstorm warning. The threat is passed. Right now, the threat continues to be simply for Franklin County as this storm rolls through. We do have a new flood warning in effect because of this exact storm. It's dumping a lot of rain in addition to the large hailstones. That flood warning includes Franklin, Johnson, and Logan as well. So kind of a double whammy with large hail, heavy rain coming down, even some wind at times up to 60 mile per hour. That's going to be the big concern for us. Let's put this back into the hail track mode. Keep in mind, this is some delayed data. And so interestingly, this is just absolutely crazy. Within the last hour and a half, we've seen 2 different hailstorms follow an almost identical path. And you can see, there goes the first one, and on the bottom side of the screen comes the second. That's wild. It's following almost the exact same path. Here's your severe thunderstorm warning, the east side of Franklin County. Again, keep in mind this data is a little bit old. The radar has to do some post-processing before it spits this data out, so that hail core is probably on top of Ozark right now. It's definitely in the Altus community, likely in Ozark. Let's see this. Let me back up. Nothing from there. Yeah. Ozark and points towards the east, the heaviest of hail. Okay, here it is, golf ball size hail, 309. I knew it. That's golf ball size there.
Also getting a report of potentially $half sized hail in Ozark once again.
Yep, so that's coming from the Emergency Operations Center there in the courthouse, downtown square. So that's matching up with where we see those brighter purples and pinks right there. And you just have to know, if you're getting $half there, you look into Whitaker Village, right up and down 186, there on St. Mary's Mountain. You know you have to have some larger hailstones than that. Also, those are falling in Altus on top of us right now. Here's State Highway 64. Hail core now with that latest scan is north of 64, running almost parallel with 186. That runs straight through I-40. Here's the liquor store right here. That's going to be where we see some heavy hail, large hail as well. Highway 352, if you live along Highway 352, north of Franklin County, that's certainly where we're going to have those hailstones falling here real soon. And at that point, it's starting to track more towards the east-northeast. And I do think at some point, we're going to have to get a warning for Johnson County based off of the track of that alone. That's a 1 hour loop. Let's do this. Let's do a 15-minute loop. And you can see, I do think a lot of this is probably going to track out of Franklin County, or at least some of it may very well track outside of Franklin County over into Johnson. Getting your text here. I'm not staring at my TikTok, promise you that. Let me put this up while I'm getting some of your reports. Golf ball size 1 mile east of Ozark from Ham Radio Spotter. Certainly believe that. So here's my number, 479-785-5000. If you can, send me your location with any information that you can pass along. Hail size, one of the things that is helpful is to include your location and a size of how much you think it was. That could be related to a quarter, a golf ball, ping pong, or dime or nickel if it's smaller, but I've not seen a lot of small hail reports. Most of it has been very large. Okay, let's see this. Cracked my windshield in 2 different places, but my windows on my RV are okay. I am seeing a lot of windshields being busted out, unfortunately, all the way from Waldron through Booneville, now getting some reports of that potentially happening in Ozark as well. Peter Pender, this is another report. You just got hit once. Webb City, this is what happens. We get those hailstones to come through. 4, 5, 6 minutes later, we start to get all these reports. This one's going to be out of, let's see, I'm not sure where that is. But it's golf ball size hail anyway, so it, I mean, honestly, it could just be anywhere. This one is coming out of Ozark. Looks like, oof, that may be larger than golf ball. I don't know about that. That could be large. Whoever just sent that in Ozark, let me know. Brad Taylor, Ozark Country Estates. It's almost tough to keep track of all these. That's definitely larger than quarters. Now hail coming out of Altus.
And that just shows you just how impressive this system is, because we had numerous storms moving over these areas, and we probably got between maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 reports or photos at a time. But this one, we're getting dozens of photos and videos and reports. And unfortunately, several of those, they're all including reports that there is damage to their vehicles, to their homes. So this isn't like the last couple of hailstorms that we've had since roughly 10 o'clock this evening, where it would pulse up real quick. It would last for just a little bit in time at the severe levels, and it was right around $quarter to $half size. We're talking golf ball, maybe even a little bit larger, that is busting out windshields and cars. It's breaking windows in homes, roof damage. Unfortunately, there's going to be some insurance claims with this kind of hail. Also, you don't want to be outdoors when it's falling, especially if it's in that 2+ category inch range, just because when you're getting to that level, it can injure you outdoors. So if you're in the path of the storm, bring the car into the garage or the carport. If you have an outdoor pet, outdoor dog, bring them in. This is some pretty considerable hail, and we're keeping an eye on everything behind the scenes here. But even though it has weakened slightly, it's still maintaining a pretty good overall hail potential with it. And I don't really think that we are getting outside of that 1.5 to near 2-inch range, at least right now. It looks to be pretty much holding steady, just not looking as impressive. So hopefully it starts to weaken, but for the time being, it doesn't really look like it's wanting to change its mind on a lot of things.
This storm started in Mena, moved straight up through Waldron, produced golf ball, ping pong size hail. We busted some windshields in Waldron. We did the exact same thing through parts of Booneville. That moved up through Etna. Now Ozark and Altus reporting those large hailstones. I at least saw one busted windshield there in Ozark. This storm now north of 352. And the worst of it probably is getting ready to move over into portions of western Johnson County. I keep expecting the Weather Service out of Little Rock to issue something, but they've yet to do so. We'll wait on that. You go back into it real tight, it's still a concerning storm, but instead of all those purples being more widespread, right now it's confined to this general vicinity. We're right here on the Johnson-Franklin County line. Here's State Highway 352. So we're north of Coal Hill. We're now well north of Altus. And we're going to be continuing to track off towards the east-northeast. So that's going to put a lot of this. This is our hail core right here. This is the culprit, this purple area. That's going to continue tracking mostly into Johnson, northwestern Johnson County. So not concerned with hail necessarily in Clarksville, although the rain's going to be picking up here real soon. Coal Hill, Hartman, Hinkle, yeah, you've got some more moderate rainfall and maybe some small hail at times mixing into that part of the area. But it really looks like it's going to be this zone that's going to be moving close to OARC, more than likely, before this is all said and done, despite the fact that it's not currently under a warning. Ping pong in Booneville, yep. Rain coming in, RV home now, including Hellman, I'm so sorry. South of Clarksville, there in Logan County on Cox Valley Road. Large hail, golf ball in Etna. Vehicles severely dented. Yeah, I'm afraid we're going to see a lot of that. Let's see. Lots of golf ball size hail by the hospital in Booneville. Yeah, there's a lot of it. I mean, there's just truly a lot of it. Latest scan, interestingly enough, I mean, it's still a strong storm, but it maybe isn't as organized as it was. Now just to the east of Watalula, so we're east of the Pig Trail here. Warning has just been trimmed. It's been updated by the National Weather Service out of Tulsa. They've just trimmed it, but we maintain a 1 3/4 of an inch size hail. This thing is either going to have to weaken real soon or Little Rock's going to have to do something with a warning for portions of Johnson County. I'm shocked that they haven't already. I will say this, based off what this storm is doing, we'll have to see how much of Madison that it ends up clipping. I don't know if it'll clip all of that warned area right now. Given that general track, if you kind of extrapolate out, yeah, it probably clips maybe the Kingston area, but I think perhaps, just perhaps, maybe we can avoid the majority of Madison County. Widespread heavy rain continues here in Johnson County. Probably got some gusty winds out of it as well. Maybe even a little bit of hail near Coal Hill, but the largest hail core sitting right now east of Watalula, right there, almost parallel with Highway 352 on the Johnson-Franklin County line.
And just behind the scenes, I'm looking at the iDrive camera. This is in Coal Hill and exit 47, I believe. You can't really see any sort of hail falling, and I'll see if I can actually get that up here real quick. But noticing that traffic moving through that area is moving very, very slow due to I'm assuming the hail and also just the very, very heavy rain. You can see trucks are using their flashers, not going all that fast. and you can see some lightning off in the distance as well. So traffic is moving very slowly through here. Can't really tell in terms of hail, but there's enough of some type of precipitation that it's leading to more caution on the roadways in these areas. Again, that's near Coal Hill. This is on the iDrive camera on Interstate 40. So again, something is leading to them driving slower, whether it's hail or very heavy rainfall. But something is definitely causing some caution out there on the roadways.
No question about it. Let's go back to live Doppler radar. Let's see what the latest scan suggests for us here. Thank you, Joshua, for that update. Keep an eye on that, and if anything else pops up, let's just ping right back to it. It's this one cell, guys. You take a live look at radar. That's the only one impacting our viewing area right now. There have been a couple of junctures over the last, at this point, 4 hours, in which we've, or 5 hours that we've said that, and then a new one pops up. Based off of this, I'm feeling like this might be the last one, but goodness, talk about going out with a bang. That was an intense and fast-moving hailstorm. I mean, we started seeing that guy down south of Polk County, and it just escalated fast, pulsed up really fast, and started developing some large hail. Franklin County, we're mostly done here. Maybe a little bit of hail right on the county line, but honestly, at the point that my voice makes it to your television or phone, it's probably going to be squarely here in Johnson County. It's not warned, much to my surprise. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Let me see. Maybe it's coming down just a little bit.
And our off-air radar product, too, I was going to mention, the last scan, it has come down rather considerably compared to what we saw just a little bit ago.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. Let's see, Little Rock, what do they have to say? They're going with special weather statement. They are going to go one step below a warning, and looks like they are thinking that the hail core has come down. It looks like it could have. It still has a very concerning presentation on live radar. It's not as crisp and as organized as it once was, and you're not finding many more of those purples. Golf ball size here, Hell and Branch. Chisholmville, very similar situation there. More from the hospital there in Booneville. Another busted windshield. Denning area, about half-inch hail. Lost power also when it came. Waldron, worst hailstorm we've ever seen, and it was so loud. Wow, hope we don't find a lot of damage tomorrow. That was scary. Yeah, it was scary, I bet. I'm afraid you're going to find damage. Let's see, that about the size of ping pong balls. Getting a lot of ping pong ball reports throughout the area. Let's do this. We were looking at the cloud tops on this thing, how high it was. Let's see if it's come down. I suspect it probably has. Oh, considerably. This is good news, folks. This is some really good news. What I've done is I've basically gosh, I'm making my teachers disappointed in me. I've taken a knife and I've sliced this storm, and I've got a vertical profile of it. Earlier, this storm had tops closer to about 30,000 feet right here, which is concerning. That's where you start to get those hail cores. Right now, it's down to about 20,000 feet, which tells us that maybe that updraft isn't near as strong as it was. You also notice these cores of purple right here, this little zone just to the southeast of Beech Grove here in northwest Johnson County. This is where that hail core probably is right now. Earlier when we sliced and diced this fella, there was a lot more of that purple reaching into that 20 to 30, even a little bit more exceeding into the lower 30,000 foot range. And now we're considerably lower than even just 10,000 feet. So this thing is weakening. That's good news for us. I hope it just continues to weaken. It's almost like it just hit a wall there. And if that's the case, maybe we're going to be in okay shape here, and we don't have to worry too much about Madison County. That warning continues, that one being issued by the National Weather Service out of Tulsa, and that runs until 3:30 this morning, so about 29 minutes from now. Perhaps you're just now stumbling upon our stream. Meteorologist Scott Covert working with Joshua Weisel here in the 5 News Weather Impact Center. We had a lot of storms this morning. At this point, it all runs together. This one was a big hailstorm. It was the strongest of all of them. There were hailstones and other storms. This one, though, which followed a very similar path to one of the others, dumped a lot of very large hail. Ping pong size hail was very common across a lot of the area. I'll show you that hail track. This woke a lot of people up in the middle of the night. Where you find those darker blues, that's going to be the largest core of hail right there, up through Mena and then through parts of Waldron and then inevitably into Booneville. That tracked up through Calksville, Etna, Peter Pender, Altus, and Ozark. And now things are seemingly fizzling out as that storm hopefully starts to lose a little bit more steam. Their warning is still technically set to continue through 3:30, although the worst of the storm, the core of the storm that prompted the actual warning, has now moved out of the box into portions of Johnson County. And at this point, it looks like the Weather Service out of Little Rock is opting to not issue any additional warnings based off of the weakening that has happened over the last several scans. How to read this just from an easy perspective: the brighter those blues are, the larger the hail. And those dark blues, that's probably where we had the ping pong size hail, and it did certainly stair step the further into Franklin County it got, despite the fact that there was some large hail, probably around the size of quarters. In fact, that's what a lot of the reports coming out of Franklin County indicate right now. Let's see. Yeah. Wow.
And something for the viewers who are on YouTube and Facebook, we can't read your comments on there, so may ought to show the phone number to send those reports to just real quick. So if you're watching and you're leaving a comment and you may be thinking we're not acknowledging the comment, we can't see the comment from where we're at. We're handling a bunch of different things. We're looking at different radar sources, reporting, checking those texts and those messages from you, the viewers at home, letting us know the damage that you have. So be sure to send us those photos, those videos, those reports, 479-785-5000, and be sure to include your location. If you're sending hail photos, it's very helpful to send those with an item that we can measure. So next to a coin, next to a ruler, next to something that we can compare that size to and relay that information to the Weather Service. So if you have a golf ball at home, a tennis ball at home, something to measure that with, make sure that when you send some of those photos too, that you can, if you're able to, put that with it so that we can compare that size and let the Weather Service know, hey, we had this size hail at this location, and they can gather that information to help potentially with downstream warnings if needed, or just take those reports in. So 479-785-5000. Again, we can't read your comments online right now. This is the best way to get those reports to us, so make sure that you send those in there.
Got a good report. It's the smallest hail report we've had in a while. This is from Hunttown out by Horsehead, taken by Jody Yates, about dime-size hail. So perhaps, in fact, that cell is continuing its weakening trend. It looks that way to me. Not only does it look like it's weakening, it looks like it may very well be stalling out. Is it going to rain itself out, which would be just fine by me? Let's do this. Let's loop this for the last 30 minutes and see. It's not making a whole lot of progress. And then once it gets into portions of Johnson County, I still think it does move into southeastern Madison, into parts of southwestern Newton County. But as it slows down, maybe it's going to start to rain itself out a little bit. It also looks like lightning has come down quite considerably as well. I do have some camera positioning from the Ozark camera, kind of looking into the backside of the storm. I'm not seeing near as much lightning strikes. So all signs right now point to the fact that this is weakening as it's moved into northwestern Johnson County. Getting some reports out of Ozark. Well, I'll tell you, there at Oxnard Park, that looks bigger than quarter to me. One of the things is, based off what I'm seeing, it's taken up almost the entire palm of this individual's hand. I just don't know how big or how small their hand is. And so not having something that's consistent to measure by makes it kind of tough. That's an egg. Okay, that's good. That's helpful. Egg there in Oxnard Park. That corresponds to what we saw around 309 as well, not far from there, Highway 309. So I definitely get that. Here's some quarter-size hail there at Whitaker Village, Pritchard Road. Cover on the ground. Goodness.
And just real quick, that latest scan that we just got, it looks like it has come down even more rather considerably as it's continuing to move off to the north and east. So that may be some good news. Also, just looking behind the scenes at the storm height, it looks like that has come down rather considerably as well. The overall storm looks to be shrinking almost. So it's not as big visually on reflectivity. We're noticing that the tops are not as tall as they were earlier when we sampled that, and it was up into the 40,000 foot range. Right now, the tops are sitting right around 32,000 feet. It's still notably tall, but that last scan, in fact, I'll put it on I'll put it on here behind you too, just to show. Really a considerable
Where'd it go?
decrease. It's almost gone.
Yeah, almost gone. Going through a lot of those reports, and everything's been pretty uniform, which is quite fascinating. Goodness gracious, that escalated quick, and I'm happy that it's at least dying out at this point. Let's do this. Current time is 3:07. Let's see what else is out there. I'm almost kind of afraid to look. That's it. The warning, I mean, everything's moved out of the warned area, so I'm honestly going to disregard that to some extent. Heavy rain in northern Johnson County. You got some sprinkles there in portions of Logan County. So Trevor up in the booth. Trevor is our director. He rides shotgun with us here. You don't get to see his face, but he makes us all this happen. He gets us on air, gets us on Facebook and 5+. We were tracking this storm almost all evening, and a lot of others on 5+ for several consecutive hours. So Trevor, shout out to you, number one. Number two, if you want to start getting the process ready of returning us back to regular programming, I'm feeling okay about that. Probably going to end the stream here as well, just given the fact that everything has fallen below severe limits, and I don't see anything back off towards the west.
And good news, it looks like they dropped that warning.
Okay, even better. Now I feel even better about it. I have a personal belief of never ending a stream if there's a warning on the map, unless I just feel really, really, really good about it. I felt really, really, really good about it. Now I feel even better about it. So, all right, that's going to do it for us here at Channel 5. God forbid anything else happens, we'll certainly break back into coverage right here and on 5+. For Joshua Weisel, myself, and the team here at 5 News, we hope you have a very good morning and hope you can get some rest.